Welcome to the podcast, Charlottesons.
Thank you for having me. Am I close enough? Can you hear me from
I think so. I think this is mostly for dramatic effect.
Okay.
I think either way, we're good.
It is the right. I'll stay here. Okay.
I want to hear a little bit about what you've been up to lately. So I hear that you've got kind of a new hobby in your life.
I do. I have a new hobby. I have bunnies now. I am a bunny lady. That's my whole new personality. I don't know what my personality would be without bunnies at this point. It's like my whole life revolves around it. But yeah, I got 3 bunnies and a dog, and that takes up a lot of my time. So that's been really fun. Well, I come from humble beginnings. I don't know. I grew up just middle of nowhere, Utah. Adjacently Mormon, very Mormon family, kind of in and out of the church, which is funny because I think, as you know, there's like so many ex-Mormons in porn. Mm-hmm. I'm sure someone needs to write some kind of dissertation about what the connection is there, but there's so many ex-Mormons, so many people from Utah that are in porn now. Mm-hmm. So I definitely fall into that category, but I grew up around a lot of animals, horses, had a rodeo family. So I think of my childhood pretty fondly, like just lots of cousins, because I did grow up in a Mormon family. Mm-hmm. I'm an only child, but I have like 500 cousins, so I never felt lonely or anything. People are like, oh, you wish you had siblings? Like, weren't you so lonely growing up? I'm like, God, no. Like, I spent all day with my cousins seeing them fighting over like food and attention. I'm like, I got to be around that and then go home and be the only one. So it made me very like grateful for being an only child. But yeah, I got to spend most of my early memories like spending time with my horses and with like barn cats and stuff that we had around. My family had a cattle ranch for many years and a logging farm. So I spent a lot of time like in nature on farms, like rural America, kind of growing up, I guess you could say. Specifically, like definitely using shower heads.
Yes. Yeah.
You know, you go somewhere, there's a removable shower head. That's like an invitation. It's going to be a long shower. So, vibrating toothbrushes, all those things. But I've been a pretty interested in sexuality since I can remember, like honestly, some of my earliest memories. But specifically, definitely like, I've never been a big porn watcher, so I think my imagination is pretty vivid when I'm masturbating, and since I've started masturbating, it's been my most used tool to do that. I think that women are like inherently or like biologically not as sexual as men or something, you know, that there's something like innate about us that makes us like not want to be as sexual or like not have as many sexual partners, you know. I think there's some people might not want to admit it, but I think there's some inherency of like being a woman makes you inherently want to be monogamous or just have one partner and not interested in like being experimental. And I think, like I said, I feel like I'm more of a fuckboy than some of the fuckboys I meet, you know? Like, I don't think your biological sex will necessarily indicate how sexually active you're gonna be in your life, you know? So I think just accepting that like women are very sexual, maybe just as much or maybe even more than men in some cases, you know? I think that makes some people feel very uncomfortable to think about or to like think about certain women being sexual, you know? I think like something about men and sexuality just kind of seems inherent, but we feel a little bit weirder about that, you know, that like women inherently like want to have sex, you know. I think that puts people some nervous or something. I think I started watching porn vivaciously when I was a teenager, but more because I was looking at it in a way like I want to do that. Like I really want to do that with my life. And I even wrote like silly little letters to Sasha Grey and stuff in my diary that I never actually sent, but just like, I want to be you someday. It's just like so silly to think about. And then, you know, I went off to college and stuff, but I watched it in a way where, I was like, I think this would be fun to do. But when I am masturbating, I hardly ever, especially nowadays, there was probably a period of time when I was younger when I watched porn to masturbate, but now it's like all imagination all the time. And I think that's healthy. You know, I think it's healthy to have a little bit of a mix, not totally rely on it. Like it's still fun to look at visually, especially if maybe there's like a specific fantasy that I'm wondering how it would play out. But I think now, you know, I've also shot so much porn.
You know,
like,
everybody. You know?
Yeah. Yeah. It's like I can just write my own in my head, you know, it'll just get there immediately. I mean, I still haven't done a DP. I still haven't done a gangbang. I think I've been like, really want, like, it's so weird, you know, it's kind of how some people are with their virginity. They're like, I want it to be perfect, you know, it has to be with the perfect person. And like, I never felt that way about my virginity, but for some reason, like the DP, the gangbang, I'm like, it has to be perfect, you know, it has to be just magical experience. It's just like such a weird thing to think about those things. But I do, I'm really excited to do those things, and I want it to just be like magical.
So what would be your ultimate DP / gangbang fantasy?
Gangbang firefighters.
Okay, you know the answer.
Oh my god, yeah, I've thought about this a lot. I'm like, how much would it take to rent a fire truck? Like, if I
actually know where there's a fire.
I do too. I've thought about it.
There you go.
Yeah, I've thought about it. But definitely like a fireman gangbang has been a big thing on my mind.